James H. Brown.
Vancouver at Toronto.
It's a Pacific Division matchup of the Oilers and Kings on Leon Draisaitl night at Rogers Place. Al Stafford is the public address announcer here.
December 16th, Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl became the 103rd player in NHL history to hit the 1,000 career NHL point milestone and the 5th fastest non-North American-born player in league history to accomplish this feat. In doing so, he became the 5th Edmonton Oiler in franchise history to reach this mark, joining Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Jari Kurri, and Connor McDavid. Oil Country, the first German-born player in NHL history to reach 1,000 points. Number 29, Leon Draisaitl. Joining us tonight to celebrate Leon's milestone, please welcome Leon's parents, Peter and Sandra, his wife Celeste, and their dog, Bowie. This achievement, Leon's teammates have gifted him with a custom-engraved Rolex watch to commemorate this milestone. And the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation has donated $25,000 in Leon's name to both the Ronald McDonald House Charities and Every Kid Deserves a Shot program, presented by Rogers, for a total of $50,000 donated. We ask you to join us as we look back on Leon's journey to 1,000 career NHL points.
Draisaitl scores! Leon Draisaitl! It's a playoff hat-trick for Leon Draisaitl.
I don't think there's a better playoff performer in the game than Leon Draisaitl.
Draisaitl! Game one hero! Draisaitl backhand scores! What a goal by Leon Draisaitl!
Definition of a gamer.
Leon might be the best combination of the best passer in the game and maybe the best precision shooter in the game. You put that together, that's deadly.
He's got Mark Payne with him, fires it. Payne with a shot, he scores! And Leon Draisaitl gets his first NHL point.
What were you thinking at that point when you got number one?
Certainly that I don't get 999 more, I can tell you that for free.
Perron out in front with Jan.10. Another chance, he scores! Leon Draisaitl, his first National Hockey League goal!
They're now well on the power play in front, score! And this is the last sound of the horn at Rexall.
Stop by Draisaitl. Draisaitl getting it to McDavid. Connor McDavid, McGee on his stick, scores! Draisaitl gets the assist. He has 100 points as well.
There's a center pass, one-timer, score! Draisaitl to Bouchard. Back to Draisaitl across. McDavid feathered in front. Score! That's point number 1,000 for Leon Draisaitl. And the entire bench out to celebrate.
I know how many people are a part of accomplishments like that, so many thanks go out to everyone.
We would now like to welcome the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, Stan Bowman, to present Leon Draisaitl with a Tiffany Crystal on behalf of the National Hockey League. Golden Stick represents 1,000 points in the National Hockey League. Making the presentation of the Golden Stick, we welcome CEO and President of Hockey Operations for the Edmonton Oilers, Jeff Jackson. On behalf of the National Hockey League, the Edmonton Oilers organization, and fans across oil country, congratulations, Leon, on this historic accomplishment. Fans viewing at home from coast to coast to coast on Hockey Night in Canada and here in Rogers Place, we ask you to please stand if you're able, remove your hats, and join the singing voice of your Edmonton Oilers, Robert Clark, in the performance of the American and Canadian national anthems.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Low battery, 20%. Double tap to open app.
Downright balmy, maybe not LA balmy, but certainly for Edmonton in early January, a very mild January evening as the Oilers get their first look at the LA
Double tap to open app.
Kings this year. One of three meetings, and Anton Forsberg, a guy who's seen Edmonton before, primarily as is an Ottawa Senator making his first start in 2 weeks in mop-up duty. Scott talked about the loss to Winnipeg last night for LA. He faced just 3 shots in mop-up duty in the third. Connor Ingram looking for his first ever win against Los Angeles. Will get the call for the Oilers. As you can see, winners of 3 of 5 starts since joining Edmonton up from Bakersfield in the American League. Drew Doughty sitting on 699 points as Leon Draisaitl honored for achieving 1,000 for his career. So we're set. It's Draisaitl and Byfield. Hockey night in Canada, Edmonton and Los Angeles. Playoff combatants of the first round each of the last 4 years. Nurse and Vogel came together in the slot and quickly ripped back in by Mikey Anderson of LA, who's been very good on the second of a back-to-back. 4-1-1 this year and 16-7-2 under Jim Hiller, their head coach. Kasperi Kapanen swung it around, but Byfield with a breakout feed for Fogle, and that's offside. And an early chance for LA goes by the boards. Bit of an unforced error there, partner. How you doing, Lou?
Was it ever? I'm doing well down here, but something that Edmonton's going to have to watch out for. You remember back in the 4 matchups against the Los Angeles Kings, this is a team that's opportunistic and will find their outnumbered rushes, and it would have been outnumbered rush, but Fogle just a little bit eager to get into the offensive zone. Draisaitl was hustling back to try and nullify the outnumbered rush, but Edmonton early almost gets caught.
Edmonton a share of first place in the tightly compressed Pacific. Little dump in, scooted to the corner by Forsberg. McDavid riding that 17-game point streak. Draisaitl had one of 18 a year ago, so McDavid trying to match his buddy as LA takes an icing call.
Connor McDavid, as you heard Scott Oak talk about, on a tear right now. Just maybe his best hockey he's ever played in his career. And for me, it's the control that he has, that unlimited speed. There's his dad, Brian, in the stands. The dad's trip for the Edmonton Oilers starts tonight. They'll go to Chicago and Nashville with the team. So some extra hard cheering fans in the building. We heard Richard Nurse is here as well, and he'll be probably spearheading the dad's trip once again.
As well as visiting every section of tonight's stands here at Rogers Place. Packed to see this matchup. Edmonton defeated LA in 6 games last year in the first round. And in many ways, last year was the series where LA had the best chance to win. Here's McDavid trying to drop it off, stolen away by Jeff Malott. That was an alert veteran play. A guy who finally broke into the NHL last year, Adrian Kempe, mired in a slump, tried to throw it in front, and that was deflected away. 2 goals in his last 9. Not quite the offensive numbers he had hoped for, coming off a 35-goal campaign a year ago, resetting his Bouchard. But I'd say even that first series where Edmonton shut LA out in Game 7, I thought last year was the Kings' best chance to win.
I agree. And I think they know it too. They were doing everything right.
Turnover! Oh, there's a hand pass call that would have nullified it as they shoveled it in. Jack Roslovic thought he had gotten a cheap one, Lou.
Yeah, quick forecheck too. Here's a good chance and a great stick by Malott. As this pass by McDavid right in the wheelhouse for Nugent Hopkins, just pickpocketed the last second, and then here's that turnover off the hand out front and bang. Great chance for Roslovic, who has a tremendous chance off that hand pass whistle and will come to the outside.
Lost selected. Live now. Los Angeles at it.
Andrei Kuzmenko for Los Angeles, checked by Isaac Howard. This line has been on the verge of a breakthrough for Edmonton, but hasn't actually gotten on the board yet. Some good chances the other night. The Oilers rally from 3-1 down to beat Winnipeg 4-3. Here's a tip who sails it over the short glass, and this is what you were talking about in terms of McDavid's point streak.
Yeah, look at these 1-point games, 5 for 2. He's got 5, and all the way up to 5-point games, he's got 1 of them. But just incredible to be able to put up that number of points. And you know, you and I talked about it, Jack. When most guys are on a streak like this, they're getting the bounces, they're going off the skate. Everything seems to be happening for McDavid. It's highlight reel after highlight reel. The way he's getting it done is really impressive, and going toe-to-toe with another guy that's at a totally different level in Nathan MacKinnon. What an amazing duo to pace the league right now.
Nate MacKinnon did not get a point today in Colorado's 4-0 win, so McDavid enters just 1 point out of the NHL scoring race. Louis and I believe we might be seeing one of the best Art Ross races ever. We might be on the precipice of maybe the greatest scoring race in the history of the league. Here's Anderson up the right-hand side. Still early. A lot of things can happen, but
there's that guy in Tampa Bay who's starting to get pretty hot, too.
Yes. Yes, Sammy Elenius.
Just all of a sudden in the mix.
Sending it in deep. Alec Regula back in the lineup for Edmonton. That's one change for the Oilers on the back end, as Riley Stillman was sent back to Bakersfield earlier tonight. Rumors that Jake Woolman may be very close for the Oilers as he bids to return to the lineup after missing more than a month. Andre Lee for the LA Kings up the right-hand side. Taylor Ward's going to stick. Throws it on net. Save made. Connor Ingram. And the rebound taken by Curtis Lazar. Fires it in deep. Anderson cut off Kapanen, and it's cleared routinely by Doughty. Byfield, who scored the only goal for LA, and it's 5-1 loss to Winnipeg last night. A giveaway, and here comes Leon Draisaitl. Quick dish. And Coleman shot tipped wide. Draisaitl tried to bank it off Forsberg, and it's cleared by Ward.
Fast pace to start this game, Jack. Both teams just on the transitional play. We've seen the Kings already a couple of times attack from the defensive zone with speed, and that rush up the ice by Draisaitl was pretty quick as well.
Well, both teams might be thinking fresh meat. They haven't seen one another, and we've already played 40-some-odd games this year.
The team they've seen the most of in the last 4 years.
And this, in the last year, the unbalanced schedule features just 3 showdowns between these two hockey clubs. Edmonton has won 9 of 16 in the regular season over the last 4 years. So LA has played them close, but in the playoffs, the Oilers have won 16 out of 24. Here's McDavid driving in on his backhand, shadowed by Dumoulin. Nurse a shot from distance, tipped just wide by Nugent-Hopkins. LA added veteran defenseman Dumoulin and Ceci in the offseason. Of course, Ceci was on the Oiler team that went to the 2024 Cup Final.
And right now, with the likes of Kopitar out of the lineup, Moore out of the lineup, Armia out of the lineup, Deneau is traded to Montreal. The defense of this team is their strength. Defense and goaltending this year. A veteran decor. Clark's the youngster in the group, but this is a real solid veteran defense group that knows how to shut things down and play the right way.
Kuzmenko wound it around. Anderson was not yet at the point. So LA tags back up, and Anderson moves in against Regula. Spencer Stastny comes over. He's paired with Regula on a third pair, with Emerson moving up alongside Nurse. And now Drew Doughty. Be Louie and Scott's guest tonight on After Hours. Up to Kuzmenko. Rink wide, Kevin Fiala. They'll spin it back to Anderson. Talking with Jim Hiller before the game. Fiala and Kempe are the game breakers for LA. And at least by their standards, they've been relatively quiet. Fiala 16 goals, Kempe 50, which is good, but not great. Especially in light of the injuries Louie was talking about. Anderson, Doughty, Taylor Ward. Gets it back from Lee. Play is onside. Lee can skate for a big man. Goes about 6'5", 215.
He is a big kid, and you know what? Played some games last year, but he's got a different pace this year. And nice drive up the ice by him and Ward. Here's Regula pinching down the wall, and Lee makes a nice play, receives the hit, steals the puck, and puts this wide, and this results in a pretty good chance for Ward, who does a nice job to drive all the way to the net. Good save by Ingram to kick that one out, and also backtracking through the middle to take it away. Talked to Jim Hiller before the game, asking about the young guys and how they've stepped in a small sample size this year, and he loves their work ethic. He says, listen, they're big, they work hard, they're not going to turn away from checks, and that's exactly what we need from them, and eventually he hopes that they can chip in with some offense from time to time to provide some of that for the team.
But right now, LA trying to batten down the hatches. Kings are 5th in the league in goals against. They have not permitted the Oilers a shot in the first 6 minutes. Regula slugs it in. Clark gave it away. Lazar under control to Stastny from distance. That scooted just wide of Anton Forsberg. A hit on Lee as he cleared by Regula. Lazar taken down as he pumps it right back into the offensive zone.
Good hit by Helenius there. He's a big kid as well, too, at 6'6". Same as his dad, Sammy Sr.
Edmondson a former combatant of yours, Louis, back in your playing career. Lazard dumps it in. Mentioned Edmonton with a share of first place. LA will move into a wild card position should the Kings get a victory tonight. Again, it's so bunched up in both the Pacific and the conference races. Again, it's a 24-hour type thing. Not much holds. Byfield shoots wide. Rebound taken by Vasily Podkolzin. But the Kings in their last 6 road games have not scored more than twice in a single game. Capping to Podkolzin, and he ripped that one high. Came off the plexi to Draisaitl. Steered to Bouchard. Scored the game winner on Thursday night against the Jets to complete the comeback. Draisaitl a shot, and that might have went off the glove of goaltender Anton Forsberg. Podkolzin to Draisaitl. Backhanded. The general direction of Podkolzin, but he had been taken out. Ekholm behind the net. Draisaitl has some room. Mid-air swipe and a good play by Corey Perry. That was intended for Bouchard. Curled back to Podkolzin. 40 seconds for this line in the ozone. Shot by Draisaitl and a save made. Forsberg, and again the Kings can't get it out.
Best shift by far in the zone for Edmonton.
Bouchard down low for Leon Draisaitl. Ekholm to Bouchard on the ice. Nugent Hopkins fires wide. And the rebound finally will be cleared by Dumoulin. Did he put too much on it? No. McDavid back to collect, but the crowd an appreciative roar. Here's McDavid challenging Laferriere. Checked eventually back to Laferriere, and now the Kings have some numbers, but they can't take advantage. Weak pass to the middle, and Zach Hyman, though fumbling it away, will allow Edmonton to reset. Drew Doughty scampers back into the offensive zone. One hands it down to Laferriere, a short pass, and Ingram made sure to keep that one out against Milan. Now a drive by Doughty, save Ingram. Rebound Adrian Kempe. Spun it back to Anderson. Shot through traffic. Guided to the corner. Swept by Kempe. Over to Doughty. Kempe has been LA's best player in the 4 prior playoff series. No question about that. Here he wins a battle. Milata centering pass. And that drifted outside the zone. Kings had not tagged back up. They're offside. 11-11. Make a wish. The Kings and the Oilers locked in a scoreless tie. You love those stress balls. Leon
17% battery power.
In Nashville with the team. Unfortunately, there's not much to do in Nashville. It's a pretty boring town. At least that's been Jack and Louie's experience.
Well, that's why they're keeping the dads to kind of a late night arrival and then an immediate departure after the game. Trying to keep them in check.
Might not stop him.
No one's stopping Richard, as you've already documented. Here's Ekholm driving it in deep. Anton Forsberg and Brad Clark. He got blasted from behind by Podkolzin, and Draisaitl buries it. On the night, they celebrate 1,000 points. Leon Draisaitl opens the scoring. That's his 22nd. 1-0 Edmonton.
Kind of fitting, isn't it? Ceremony before the game, you just saw the golden stick Okie talked about, and this is just getting on your horse on the forecheck. This rim around handled by Forsberg, but it's the forecheck once again. Podkolzin with a big hit. And then this puck comes to Kapanen. He's played really well in this line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin. 3 big guys that can skate. Beautiful pass into the slot. The quick release by Draisaitl finds the back of the net. And there's his dad, Peter. Used the same stick blade as Leon Draisaitl. There's not too many people in the world that can use that paddle, but boy, does he ever use it well.
Podkolzin, the team leader in hits, and as you mentioned, Kasperi Kapanen, he missed 36 games, Louis. Are you at all surprised at how seamlessly his return has been?
I am. I'm a little bit surprised because sometimes it takes a little time, but I know one thing is for sure for Kapanen. He came in tremendous shape this year. Lost some weight, looked really fast. He got hurt early in the season, but he kept working hard to get himself back into the lineup. Thought he was there, had a little setback, and you know what, for him, once he got back, he was ready to go, and he has been pumping the Pistons, and that's exactly what, not just that line for Edmonton, but I think in general, just a little bit of pace, more on the forecheck, and resulted in that goal again. A big check by Podkolzin, and Kapanen and Draisaitl both aggressive in the offensive zone. A little extra here between Kapanen and Fiala.
And now Matt Savoy streaking in, got a singles cross with Isaac Howard, but the puck remains in the zone as Roslovic following on the fourth check.
But to follow up that point, Jack, he's a veteran player. He wants to be in the lineup. He knows what it takes. It's that work off the ice. Really hard to simulate game, but he was ready to go.
Drive for the point by Ceci. That was deflected wide. Taken by Savoy. And flipped over to Stastny. Ahead for Howard. Punched back the other way by Ceci. The Oilers will reload. LA has to tag back onside. And Alec Regula brings it out to center and slams it in. Corey Perry, 9 goals for the Kings this year. He just keeps on rolling. Had 19 in the regular season, 10 more in the playoffs for Edmonton last year. Perry spinning to Byfield. I mean, 29 goals at age 39. Here's McDavid. Carrying, dishing, Nurse shot. It was kind of a shot pass, and it slithered through untouched. Nugent-Hopkins and Ceci. Great friends when Ceci was a teammate of Nugent-Hopkins. Around the boards, Emerson. Nurse cross-seamer. McDavid. Look toward the hole. Byfield tracking. Nurse a shot. Tip. Couldn't get there. Perry reversed it back behind his own net, and then he'll get it back from Dumoulin. On to Warren Foegele. His shot deflected up on the plexi. Been a quiet year for Foegele, tried to center, and that was tipped away. Coming off a career year. Foegele has it back, though. Shoots and a save made. Connor Ingram holds sway. Keeps Edmonton in front at 1-0. 8:25 to go in the first period. Leon Draisaitl. 1,000th point came last month at Pittsburgh. 22nd goal comes tonight.
36-year-old Drew Doughty had his heart set on making the Olympic team. His quote in the days leading up to the announcement, "I want to make this team so bleepin' bad, it's all I think about." End quote. Substitute whatever word you like for bleepin', although you can probably guess the correct one. So a lot of stress lifted off Doughty when he got the call last week, and now he'll have a chance to win a third Olympic gold with he and Sidney Crosby, the only 2 holdovers from the 2010 gold medal team. Mix in a few Stanley Cups, and we're looking at a first ballot Hall of Famer, which of course goes for Crosby as well. Jack.
Thank you, Scott. Yeah, it's, tremendous considering he's had a couple of injuries the last couple of years. And still, his presence and his game remains Olympic quality.
Leadership, first and foremost. Big ovation here for Corey Perry, who was recognized on the screen as well. Another guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Eaten up by Ingram.
Sometimes it pays to be a bad fan. Every game is your game. That with Sports Interaction.
Don't miss heart-stopping PWHL action when Sarah Nurse and the Vancouver Golden Eyes face off against Marie-Philippe Poulin and the Montreal Victoire. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on CBC and CBC Gem. My 5 years of French, sadly, I think Ilmar's Liepins would say went to waste. A drive by Doughty and a redirect just wide. And yes, I had a Latvian guy teaching me French. Here's Leon Draisaitl. Meadville, Pennsylvania, Louis. That's that accent. I can't pull it off. I tried. Draisaitl tried to center. Off the side of the net. Fighting for it. Kapanen. Bouchard. Draisaitl. Kapanen. Ekholm, a shot, a save made, a rebound available. Grabbed by Draisaitl. Ekholm around Mikey Anderson, chased, pursued, and swept around the boards. Bouchard.
Another terrific shift for this line. Just hemming in the Kings.
Another 40-second plus shift in the offensive zone for that line, to your point, Lou.
There hasn't been a ton of time spent in the offensive zone. The Kings are solid at getting pucks out pretty quickly, closing things off, but the right side of the line has been all over them.
CC shot tipped and up and out of play with 6.5 remaining in the first period. Kings actually have a lead on the shot clock, but Draisaitl has given Edmonton a 1-0 lead.
Here's another chance to between traffic and around the world, and it's Ekholm that comes right down into the slot with traffic in front. Puck Colson was there. Getting back to Kapanen too, and how he's jumped right back in. You have to give credit to the training staff, right? Off the ice, Chad Drummond, Joel Jackson did great work to make sure he was ready to go. The athletic therapists here in Edmonton are second to none, and they make sure you're ready to go when you get back on the ice. And Kapanen showing that he has not missed a beat.
David wins the draw against Hellenius. Emerson rifles one through the middle. That's going to lead to an ice.
You could win the ultimate NHL trip. Learn more at Rogers.com/The Great Canadian Jersey.
This crime-solving duo is back hot on the case and even hotter for each other. Don't miss Wild Cards. New episode Wednesdays. Watch free on CBC Channel. There's the aforementioned Richard Nurse.
And Brian having a little conversation, taking in the game. Little extra conversation there between Hellenius and Nurse on the way back to the respective benches is heating up a little bit. They have remembered each other.
Adrian Kempe, offensive zone draw. One into the quick shot, whistled off the post by LaFerriere. That was a bullet. Another drive and a save made by Connor Ingram. Kempe, who won that face-off. Another pass to LaFerriere. Good play by Nurse, and then another shot. Drew Iron. Brant Clark forcing it down low. McDavid. Oilers do well to get out of that shift.
Yeah.
Still leading 1-0.
And this line on the flip side has been good for the Kings. Created some really solid chances here in this first period. Malot's had a couple. That one there by LaFerriere off the bar.
Hyman with a steal, though. A shot off the rush, and that nipped the blocker of Forsberg on its way out of play. And now we've got a scrum.
And we do know what a scrum is.
This is the 41st meeting since 2021. Familiarity, no doubt, breeds contempt.
Starting to heat up, which is great to see. Two rivals that have seen a lot of each other in recent years. LaFerriere right off the face-off rings the bar, but it's Edmonton still with a 1-0 lead. Great defensive play by Nurse to break that one up, but Clark has a good chance in tight, taken away.
You guys like to talk about me shooting the puck. I've said I want to shoot the puck, and I'm shooting the puck. There you go.
In other words, would you please stop asking me about shooting more? 5 shots on Thursday in Winnipeg by McDavid. 91 total in his 17-game point streak. So an average of
Instagram, Peyton Ross Martin official, see Stars Earrings. Use Saturday more in your feed. New people to discover suggested accounts based on your interests. Stars Earrings, use Saturday, and 4 others. Post on Instagram suggested for you see all Kelsey Stars Earrings followed by Ethan Inkster.
Well, he's got 29, second only to Nate McKinnon in the league. Knocking on the door of yet another 30-goal campaign. He's got 4 40s. Shot sent wide by Alec Regula off the draw. Here's Howard down low to Savoy. Quick dish back to Regula. Edmonton up 1-0. A shot by Regula that sent drifting wide. Draisaitl has the game's only goal. He has 22. McDavid 29. Regula a shot that was tipped wide. Rebound off the boards. Perry with pressure up top. Stastny slung one off the blocker of Forsberg. Chopped away from Savoy, and now Cody Ceci leads a 3-on-2 for LA. Fogle whipped it across, out of the reach of Perry, and the Oilers will reset with 5 minutes to go in this first period. And Ingram, with Hellenius giving him a little shower, will cover.
Yeah. Little sticking around in front of the net. Good job by Ingram to recognize that. Here's the 17-game point streak. 41 points, 18 goals for Connor McDavid. And you can see point streaks from active players. 25 games from Crosby and 20 from Patrick Kane, who just scored his 500th goal. But, you know, I was one of those guys, too, and have been one of those guys for Connor, too, saying shoot the puck. And for good reason. When he does, it's amazing the chaos he can present, but also he has a terrific release. He really does. But there's no question he's been a pass-first guy his entire career, his entire life. He says that, but it's out of his comfort zone a little bit. You and I had a great conversation with him, Jack, and he says, listen, I know I need to shoot the puck more. I want to shoot the puck more, but sometimes when I see an option that's there, it happens instantaneously. He's been shooting the puck a lot and is on a 17-game point streak with 18 goals. It's working.
Draisaitl won the face-off. Puck didn't leave the zone. Now Kapanen has it under his possession. When McDavid did shoot it, he scored 64 a couple years ago. And he still had 89 assists that year.
Career high in shots that year.
Nurse will wind it around. Oilers looking for their first 3-game winning streak of the entire season. Only St. Louis joins Edmonton in that category in terms of not having managed 3 wins in a row. This is an icing call against LA.
Well, this guy's not a super high-volume shooter in Leon Draisaitl. It's amazing. He does pick his spots when to release that puck. And there's different types of players, right? High-volume shooters, guys that want to wait for that perfect shot and that opportunity. And he's one of them. You know, he can go a little bit of a distance without letting the puck on net, but when he shoots it, it's usually got a great chance to go in the net. The dynamic duo on the ice here on an offensive zone faceoff.
Meaning Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, 5-on-5 for the first time in the game. Bouchard holds the puck in the zone. Draisaitl creates a screen for McDavid. Bouchard. Draisaitl, one touch across, tipped away by Taylor Ward, and Ekholm will reload.
Good stick by Ward. Read that play well.
Taylor Ward, a 27-year-old rookie. Lengthy time in Penticton, then on to Nebraska, Omaha. So he was in his mid-20s before he turned pro. Here's McDavid around. Hellenius to the net. And that stayed in the skates for a moment of Fiala. Draisaitl shoots. That was blocked. Gets it right back. Curls it back to McDavid. Hyman net front. McDavid swooping. Surveying. Dishing. And home to the net. Could not go backhand shot, which was his intention. Draisaitl pinned by Mikey Anderson in the corner. Here's McDavid colliding with Fiala, shrugged him off, and threw it back to Draisaitl. He and Anderson have been jousting for the last 5 years. Fiala ahead for love. Ferrier couldn't control. Hyman brings it the other way. McDavid breaking his way through traffic, and then LaFerriere able to break up a short side bid intended for McDavid. But the Kings still unable to get possession and get it out. McDavid threw it in front. Finally, Fiala to LaFerriere, and a weird hop off the stanchion at center. Spilled back the other way by Dumoulin a second time, and now the Kings, on another weird hop, are going to draw themselves offside.
Strong shift with the loaded-up line with McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman on the ice. This spin move out of the corner. Hellenius, as you mentioned, 6'6". But for McDavid, he's just so good at recognizing when you're in a bad position. Once he decides to spin, he gets in tight to the body and so good at controlling that puck through traffic, moving it around well. That was the best chance. Ekholm walking in, trying to go to the backhand side.
Oilers 22-16-6 coming in. And 11 straight wins when they get the first goal. Got the second best record in the league. 18-1-3 for the season. I have to tell you that Colorado has the best record. Well, you haven't been paying attention to the way the NHL season has gone thus far. This is icing against LA.
Wagon.
4-0 win today.
Unbelievable. They are having a year, that is for sure. As Jim Hiller directing some traffic here, maybe a little frustrated with... They're navigating through the neutral zone. They turned it over a few times. A funny hop, the one off the stanchion you mentioned, got a little bit of an unlucky bounce on that one, but the inability to kind of get it through and in deep and establish that forecheck like they were early in the period.
Turcotte won the face-off from Nugent Hopkins. Ceci tried to staple, put Colson against the wall, and now Dumoulin will escape and launch down the middle. Nurse beaten by Kempe. Did he hold him up?
Up stick, came up and caught him. It will be a high sticking to Darnell Nurse here. First power play goes to the Los Angeles Kings.
Created by Kempe's speed, fair to say.
And there you go. That punch through the neutral zone, that's what they're looking for. And for Kempe, he's always been a dangerous player. And he's gotten better and better, it seems, every year. And he has that terrific speed. Now, he does reach in with the left arm and catapult himself through it. In the process, you'll see the stick come up with Darnell Nurse. But it's that speed you're talking about, Jack. Once he gets those feet moving, he's kind of around. Stick comes up. He's kind of slapped him, but it certainly did catch him up in the helmet area, face shield area, side of the face. Have to have control, and the Kings will get the first power play in this one.
5-on-5 play this year. LA has been better than average at +6, but the special teams, they're bottom third in both categories, 29th in the league at 15% on the power play, and the Oilers kill 17 for its last 18. But Kempe wins another faceoff, and here's Brent Clark shooting, and a glove save. Rebound score! Ingram didn't handle it cleanly, and Corey Perry fires home the rebound as he's done for 21 years. That's his 10th of the year, matching the number on his back, and we're tied.
Yep. Scott Oak referred to him as the worm, and this is why he can just get himself into tight spaces, and he loves it. He loves going to the front of the net. He was chatting with a lot of guys on the bench. Very, very popular player everywhere he goes, and especially here in Edmonton, going to the Stanley Cup final the last couple of years. And here just in front of Ingram. So this wrister by Clark is a little bit of a high one, but it comes in. Ingram can't quite see it, knocked down. And Corey Perry, as he's done for so many years. Watch this little knuckler kind of sent in, but it's the timing of it. Ingram gets a good slap at it with the glove, but it drops down right in front of him. It was a reaction kind of save, the first one, and Perry says, thank you very much. He's done that so well. 1-1.
To be honest with you, Louie, when I look at that, I think Ingram thinks he has it for a moment.
Low battery, 10%. Double tap to open app.
I think he has it, and he might not have been the only one on the Oilers that thought he had it initially.
Well, Corey Perry didn't think he had it.
No. Corey Perry's, and even if he had it, Corey Perry
double tap to open app.
He might have still given him a job.
Here's Mark. And a miscommunication with Stastny will chase Edmonton back.
90% that he would have given him a job.
Corey Perry, a power play goal from Clark and Kuzmenko. We're tied. Well earned. As Louis talked about, Kempe's burst of speed, and now he's got the puck with 1:20 to go, and the Kings have an odd-man rush. Palat to the net, and a bobbled puck. Clark actually had a chance to get that on net. Now he tries a wrist shot that's blocked by Savoy. Hustled up the right-hand side by Roslovic. Turned it back to the point for Emerson. Returned to Roslovic and taken off his stick by Brent Clark, who was used sparingly in the playoff series a year ago. Drive by Nurse and a save. Forsberg square to that shot, puts it to rest. And now more rough stuff. And that's Roslovic in the crease for Edmonton, crowding Forsberg.
Nice pass by Howard to find Nurse far side, and it's Roslovic standing in front. Gets a little extra jab by Edmondson. Some big guys surrounding him. He's trying to look in, maybe get a little tip screen, and then Clark comes back, and then somebody gives him a little shot right there. Maybe a little chat. I don't mind that. Stick around the blue paint a little bit. He pushed out of there. Edmondson is a big tough defenseman that's not going to let you stick around in there too long.
So Byfield and Draisaitl, under a minute to go here in the first period. Draisaitl has scored for Edmonton. Corey Perry, his teammate the last 2 years, answers for LA. And Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hyman to finish up with a 5-on-5 shift. But the Kings were able to control the draw, and Fiala wheels
double tap to open app.
Fogel. He got
selected. 10% battery power. Not charging. Status bar item. Swipe down with 3 fingers to reveal notifications. Pause.
Those two good friends. They'll see one another in the summer.
Go back, Lynn.
We'll
iPhone.
talk about that, I'm sure. Here's Draisaitl. Pressure from Fiala. McDavid hits the cutting Bouchard, but Byfield there. Ekholm was able to keep the zone for Edmonton. 25 seconds to go. Doughty didn't get it out, but now Fiala will lead a rush. He'll bring it to the red line, and I think he threw that one out of play at the red, so face-off come to neutral.
Off a body on the Edmonton bench, I believe. Here's Fogel and Bouchard going at a good stick by Bouchard. Good gap control. Little stand-up, and then an extra shot down the ice as they go at it. No friends on the pond, as we say.
Warren Foegele, 24 goals, 46 points a year ago. This year, puck luck has not been as kind. 6-35. Shot in by Stastny, taken by Podkolzin. He's out there with Nugent Hopkins and Kapanen to close this first period. Chipped out by Hellenius, down to 6 seconds. Put too much on it, and that's icing. against Los Angeles, and Edmonton will get one final offensive zone draw.
Just under 5 seconds here on the clock for this last face-off attempt.
So Nugent-Hopkins directing traffic here. The face-off against Hellenius. Tie-up off the draw, squirts behind, and Dumoulin will just kill the clock. And LA, playing on the second of a back-to-back, has forged a 1-1 tie on the power play goal by Corey Perry.
Pretty even period. I think both teams had their opportunities. The Kings started to find some rushes up the ice. Edmonton, for the middle part of the period, I thought did a great job to nullify that, spend time in the zone. Draisaitl made it 1-0. The tying goal that we just saw by Corey Perry, the ex-Oiler, makes it 1-1, but both teams having their looks at a pretty fast pace to start things off.
And Alex Laferriere lobbying. It's all part of the game. On a special night for Leon Draisaitl, honored for his 1,000th point. He opens the scoring, but LA able to battle back with a power play goal. 1-1 after one. Straight ahead, our Ozempic first intermission with Ron and the panel on Hockey Night in Canada.
Back with you at Rogers Place, Draisaitl for Edmonton, Perry for the Kings, and it's 1-1 to start the second period. Do not miss out on tonight's Oilers Winners of Oil Country 50-50, presented by Rogers in support of the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation's Every Kid Deserves a Shot initiative. Jackpot's over $700,000 for tonight in climbing. Get your tickets now if you're in Alberta at edmontanoilers.com/5050. The potential 18-game point streak of Connor McDavid's brilliant career is a big story. It almost ended, though, at Game 13 in Winnipeg. McDavid got an assist on Zach Hyman's empty netter with a minute and a half to go to keep the streak alive. Then an assist the next game pushed the streak to 14. 1-1 versus Philadelphia in the next game. A hat trick versus Nashville in Game 16. And 1-1 versus Winnipeg on Thursday to make it 17 games. 8 points in his last 4 games to emphatically keep the streak alive. 3 times in his career, McDavid's had 17-game streaks. Now a personal record awaits with 2 periods to go, or the streak ends. I would bet on the former, Jeff.
And just think, Okie, if he gets to 18, he needs 7 more to tie Wayne Gretzky.
Crazy.
In an Oiler uniform. That's in an Oiler uniform.
It's unbelievable.
Here's Matthias Janmark.
Kings have played him hard so far through 20.
And it's been relatively low event hockey to this juncture. Here's a turnover by Perry and a shot by Lazard that does not make its way through. Second bid ended up wide. Frederick back down low. Good shift for Edmonton's fourth line to start this second period.
Really good one. Started right off the face-off.
Perry to Byfield. He's in deep. A backhander off the pads, and then Fogle shot it wide. Byfield deliberately kind of put it off the pads, hoping he might get a friendly Karen, but Fogle couldn't finish, and now it's Bouchard. Kapanen wheels it to the trailing Ekholm shot. That missed short side. Rebound nudged in front by Edmondson to his own goaltender. And Forsberg happily will scoop it up.
Well, after a good push to start this period by the fourth line of Edmonton, they get in, hem in the Kings. It's again on the transition. And Byfield bounces this one off the backhand side, off the pad. It goes right to Fogle. He tries to elevate and just can't finish on that sharp angle. But a good chance, heady play, as you mentioned, Jack, by Byfield. Understanding that Fogle was far side, little indirect pass off the pad.
One-timer score! Draisaitl right off the draw, set up by Bouchard. And the man who was celebrated before the game has celebrated twice tonight. Edmonton regains the lead.
Face-off play here for Edmonton. Watch Draisaitl get going. He knows it's coming. As soon as it happens, bam. Gets his feet going aggressively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spinning. He's ready for that pass by Bouchard, who puts it right on place for the one-timer. He knows it's coming. It's a set play on a face-off win. 2-1 Edmonton on 2 goals by Leon Draisaitl. The night they're celebrating his 1,000 points in the league.
2 goals tonight, 23 on the season, and were it not for McDavid's point streak, where he's piled up 41, I mean, in the last 18 games, Draisaitl's got 32, and it feels like chopped liver next to what McDavid's done. Here's Kapanen, trying to squeeze his way through, unable to do so. Kempe, a strike to Laferriere, a shot and a save made by Connor Ingram. 71st time that number 29 has scored at least twice in a single game. Laferriere off a turnover, leading a 3-on-2 for LA. Whistles another shot on net that's stopped by Connor Ingram. 2 minutes gone by. Second period. Draisaitl's second of the night set up by Bouchard, the fourth leading scorer amongst defensemen. 5 straight 40-point years for Evan Bouchard. The only other Oiler that did that was Paul Coffey. Did it 6 years in a row. On the back end, of course. Kuzmenko to Fiala. Taken away by Emerson. Sneaks one through to Nugent-Hopkins. He'll wind it around to McDavid. Open man Emerson. Shot. That was blocked. Dumoulin takes the ricochet to Kuzmenko. Play is onside. Kuzmenko lost his stick. Tried to kick it down low, but Nugent-Hopkins was having none of it. And now McDavid with Hyman. Tried to center. Came loose and ultimately trapped underneath. Alex Turcotte as a stick went sailing. Soft chip by Doughty. Cleared up by Ceci. And now a chance for Hellenius on his backhand. Turns it back to the forehand and stoned by goaltender Connor Ingram.
A lot of opening up here in this game. We've seen in the first period his chances happening fast. One chance off a rush, another chance the other way. Here's McDavid trying to slip this under Drew Doughty. They'll be teammates for Canada in the Olympics, and nice defensive play to take away a sure tap in for Zach Hyman backdoor. Hellenius has had a strong game. Matched up against McDavid, has been physical. Nice little spin move to catch this one, and then have a nice chance in tight that Connor Ingram handles.
Hellenius digging in against Leon Draisaitl. Puck came free. Doughty to Anderson. Shoveled down low. Hellenius tried to go short side. Taylor Ward battling Draisaitl on the rebound. Regula comes over to help out Leon Draisaitl. A fiercely fought puck battle. Came out to Doughty, a slap shot. And that went off the right shoulder of Connor Ingram. Caromed off his shoulder and all the way out of the zone.
They were walking to that one, Doughty. Testing the blocker high.
Anderson up to Ward. Byfield shot tipped home. And it's Andre Lee with his second NHL goal. Scored once last year. And the 6'5" forward ties the game at 2.
Well, credit the Kings here, Jack. They have been pushing here. They've been pushing downhill when it comes offensively. Quick ups and driving to the net. And they've been relentless right from the start of the game. There was a small portion in the first period where Edmonton took over with some time in the zone, but this is just a reach by Lee, and a good job by him. It's Byfield that gets it through. It gets knocked down partially, but still makes it through. And Lee, as you mentioned, being 6'6", with that reach, extends, gets a piece of this puck to elevate, gets it by Ingram. It's tied 2-2. So another response from the Kings.
Beautiful tip from Byfield. Just 2.5 minutes after Draisaitl had scored a second to regain the lead for Edmonton. Andre Lee, a 7th-round pick. Played his collegiate hockey at UMass Lowell. Kings had a pretty successful goaltender who played his collegiate hockey in Massachusetts, as I recall. Frederick, a centering pass. That's wide of Forsberg. Though he didn't have a great day today. Neither did the rest of his team.
A little tough in New York with Jonathan Quick. Yeah, just an outstanding career with the Kings.
2014. I know Team Canada won the gold medal that year at the Olympics, but I think Jonathan Quick that year, the calendar year anyways, was the best goaltender on the planet. There's a winding around. Draisaitl gives way to Ty Emberson. Byfield defending up on the line. Of course, that was the last cup for the Kings, winning in 2012 and 2014 in the crease.
Probably the best goaltender ever to win a Vezina.
That's not a bad thought either. Vogel a wraparound. Stopped by Ingram. It was available for a moment, and Draisaitl will button hook away from Byfield and reset for Edmonton. Quick one-touch pass to Kapanen from Pokolza. He leaves it for Ekholm. A diving shot sent off balance and flying. Ended up on the plexi and taken by Malott.
Although Jackie did win the Conn Smythe, I think he's okay with that.
Yes. But that was that 2014.
Lundqvist actually that took it away from him. Lundqvist had a terrific year, the same year that Quick had his best chance at a Vezina.
McDavid, a strike to Ekholm, pinballed around and on net, and Forsberg made the save. Forsberg really didn't get a shot his first years, at least at the NHL level. Just worked on his game at the American Hockey League level for most of his first 7 seasons, and then the last 4, a stalwart in Ottawa. Shot by Nugent Hopkins, towed aside by Forsberg. McDavid. Down low for Nugent Hopkins.
This game reminds me a lot for Edmonton, that is the game in Winnipeg a couple nights ago. A defending team that doesn't allow you to have a lot of time in the zone. You've got to ratchet up the intensity.
LaFerrier found a seam in the slot, but airmailed that shot. Now McDavid in full flight. Nugent Hopkins will drop it back to him. McDavid trying to give it back. Nugent Hopkins in the meantime had been high-sticked. Penalty coming against Los Angeles, and it starts with LaFerrier with a pretty good scoring chance. Completely missed the net. Jim Hiller can only look on, as now Edmonton will go to its first power play of the night, looking to regain the lead. Brent Clark guilty of high-sticking on Hockey Night in Canada.
10% battery.
Percent since mid-December, so the rest of the league long since on notice to take penalties against the Oilers. Ill-advised, Jack.
Well, and Scott, couple that with LA's struggling penalty kill. We talked about the special teams. They're 25th in the league, and they've given up a power play goal in 10 of their last 11. Now, the one thing you have to worry about with the Kings is they can come the other way. They lead the league with 7 shorthanded goals. So keep that in mind in terms of what LA can do at the other end. But here's a clear by LaFerrier. So Edmonton can't be too greedy here. LA can counter.
Missing Armia too. He leads that pack.
Yes.
Shorthanded goals before.
Armia, Kopitar unavailable, as well as Trevor Moore. But the Kings read the play at the line, force it back, and first 35 seconds go by without incident. But Edmonton, should it stay at this pace, would set a lead record. Kempe thought he was picked. Draisaitl to McDavid in front. I'm going to swing and a miss. Nugent Hopkins shoots, blockers in. Rebound McDavid, cross-seamer, picked off. And a wise move by Anderson that time to have some poise in the puck, wait a half beat, and then rip it down the right-hand side. That was well played.
You have to make sure in the second period, longer change. Great save by Forsberg, though.
Here's McDavid. Dashing. Ducking. Fending off one man, but not Kempe, who will take over and wallop this puck the length of the ice. And the Oilers are going to change up the unit relatively early by their standards. Only a minute 20 into the power play. Howard, Roslovic, Savoy come on to join Ekholm. And Roslovic with a turnover. LaFerrier threaded it through to Byfield. And now LaFerrier with a wrist shot that's eaten up by Connor Ingram to keep the game tied at 2.
Yeah, good stick to knock that down, and Byfield and LaFerrier getting a pretty good chance through a screen. Here's Draisaitl. Possession entry. Kempe, as you mentioned, thought interfered with, I believe, with Hyman coming through the middle. He has a chop at this one, and then this is a good blocker save as Nugent Hopkins likes to test that blocker high. And then Anderson with poise waits for a second, lane clears up and puts it down 200 feet. So important against the top-ranked power play unit to make sure that puck goes all the way down the ice.
Los Angeles just 8 wins in its last 24. But the way this division and conference has gone this year, a win tonight puts the Kings in a wild card spot. Wristed down deep by Roslovic. Quentin Byfield was pulled down. This is a penalty coming up against Edmonton. So as the Kings penalty set to expire, they'll get a nearly full power play out of this.
BetMGM's responsible gambling tools like deposit or time limits, you can always mull it over ahead of time.
Party's in the back.
Edmonton penalty number 53. 2-minute minor. Okay.
He hooked Isaac Howard here as he just gets his stick caught in the midsection. Byfield has the puck, but as he stops, he just kind of stays with him. Down he goes, hooking the call.
Kings scored right off the draw. Perry banging home a rebound of a Brant Clark shot. And now in this 4-on-4 setting for 4 seconds, Perry himself will take the face-off.
Jim Hiller, a lot of credit given to Perry and his leadership. With Kopitar out of the lineup, they said they missed the both of them for the first time as Perry missed the last couple of games. Dealing with a personal issue at home, and for Jim Hiller, he said it's incredible how much of a difference it makes when you have those guys in your locker room settling things down, and Perry is a big part of that. Why they wanted to sign him and bring him on board.
Perry and McDavid on the draw. Perry able to maintain with help from Kuzmenko now.
Volume, select ball, go play, button,
Able to catch up to a right wing lead pass and can set up the boards wisely by Ingram, allowing Emerson to shovel it back to the red line. Brant Clark. Kempe. Kuzmenko shielding the puck from Savoy. When he tried to go down low, popped off the stick. Stastny didn't get it out. Fiala across, shot Clark, rebound. Kuzmenko had it caught up in his jersey, couldn't find it in his feet, and ultimately tugged free and cleared by Nugent Hopkins.
Yeah, he just kept spinning Kuzmenko to try and find that puck. It was spin. He just didn't seem to want to drop in a place that he could pick it up.
Here's Kempe. Warren Fogle a shot. Handcuffed Ingram, but he did well to juggle and freeze with 45 seconds now remaining in the LA power play.
Pretty good second chop there by Kempe into Ingram. Here's a nice pass by McDavid finding the trailing Spencer Stastny, who's an excellent skater, short-handed up the ice looking for that chance. Didn't miss by much, would have been his first point. There's Kuzmenko, just keeps spinning and spinning, hoping this puck drops down somewhere where he can find it. Was right in the wheelhouse. Not happy once he gets back to the bench. Sometimes it just doesn't drop in the right spot.
This game halfway over, tied at 2. Draisaitl with both goals for Edmonton. Perry and Andre Lee with his first this season and the second of his NHL career, which is now in its 22nd game. So the Kings, again, shorthanded without veterans like Kopitar, Moore, and Armia. They're giving Edmonton all they want on the second of a back-to-back, having lost in Winnipeg last night 5-1. Doughty's shot was blocked by Bouchard, and then it's drilled down the ice. Darcy Kemper was the starter last night. Vesna finalist a year ago, gave up 5 on 16 against the Jets, who broke that 11-game losing streak, which included 2 defeats to Edmonton. Bouchard and Ekholm crowded on one final dump in with LA's power play in the final 10 seconds. LaFerriere across to Doughty. He'll settle it. Spin on Kaplan. Under pressure gives it up Fogle. LaFerriere's open. A drive and a save Ingram just as Edmonton comes back to full strength. 9:21 to go, second period. Tied at 2. A look at beautiful Edmonton on Hockey Night.
It's a lot to take in. Their prized possessions have taken over.
This is worth over.
Special special night at Rogers Place for Leon Draisaitl as they commemorated his 1,000th point last month in Pittsburgh. He scored twice tonight, Louis. It bears noting that his father, Peter, is in the stands. Going back, way back when Big Den was in the stands, did you give it a little bit extra?
Yeah, there's no question. There's Peter right there. We know where Leon got the Draisaitl stare from, that's for sure. And Peter was a heck of a player in his own right. A lot of respect Leon has for his dad, rightfully so, as all the players do with their dads and mentors on the trip here. And for Leon, with the big man in the house, he's got a couple in front of him. He's got a little extra jump.
Brent Clark, slide step to his left, bothered by Picolson, rolls it over. Joel Edmondson whips it around the boards. Clark punished. Kings, to their credit, shorthanded on the second of a back-to-back, giving Edmonton everything it wants. Edmondson, Kempe, a shot into a crowd that was batted down. I think it might have carried off him a lot. And Draisaitl will bring it the other way. These two teams play one another only 3 times this year. Again, this is the final year of the unbalanced schedule. All divisional opponents will see one another 4 times each starting next year. Kempe over to Doughty. Although, again, they've seen one another plenty. 41st meeting since 2021 tonight at Rogers Place. 4 straight postseason matchups, 4 straight series won by Edmonton. All in the first round. Ekholm winding it around. Corey Perry to cut it off and curl one up the boards for Fogle, but swatted away by Ekholm. Byfield keeps it onside. Saucered across. Fogle a wrist shot, and that ticked off the glove of Ingram. Almost lost the leather in reaching out for that puck. Perry protecting. He'll turn 41 in May. Anderson around the boards. One-handed by Ekholm, kept alive by Fogle, but recovered in the slot and advanced through to Nugent-Hopkins by Bouchard. Anderson off a Hyman dump in, up the left-hand side and out. Byfield won't be whistled for icing. Stastny catches up to it. 7.5 to go in the second period. Shots are 18-12 Los Angeles. There's a quick chance for Regula, and that snapshot handled well by Forsberg. Well, when an old case resurfaces, Fitz and Arch face new dangers in their deadliest investigation yet. St. Pierre. New episode Mondays. Watch free on CBC Gem. Draisaitl, 20 goals in the 24 playoff games he's played against Los Angeles. And one year he did it on one leg after that entanglement with Mikey Anderson. That's why I alluded to in the first period. Those two seen one another plenty. Ceci, shot again into a crowd. Stastny able to pick up the ricochet off to Isaac Howard, and it's muscled back through the middle. Fiala to leave it for Ceci. Kuzmenko coughed it up. Stastny streaks to open ice and backhands it in deep. Roslovic allows it go through to Savoy in front, and Howard was taken down. Couldn't get a stick on it. Roslovic back on the puck. Shrugs off a check from Turcotte. Ceci, though, able to pry it off his stick and leave it for Ryan Dumoulin. Pumped up the middle. Turcotte was not at the red line. This is icing against the Kings.
Tough Dredman, good work in the offensive zone, although Roslovic slowed down and was falling down. Need more of that from Edmonton, I think, to turn things around. Here's the 4 straight first-round playoff meetings between these two teams. Some huge numbers by all of these 5 guys. 3 guys from the Oilers and 2 from the Los Angeles Kings. Just terrific playoff series between 2 teams. You know what they say, familiarity breeds contempt, and those 2 teams in those 4 playoff series went at it. No question about that. And they don't forget.
Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman out there for this offensive zone face-off. Bouchard. McDavid a drop off. Draisaitl takes it hard to the hole against Turcotte with a backhander to save Forsberg. Rebound available. Turcotte taken down. Kings wanted a call, none forthcoming. Dumoulin got it through Bouchard. Second effort. Hyman and looks up. Draisaitl had not yet vacated the zone, so the Oilers working around neutral. Fired in by McDavid. Ceci unable to get it through Matthias Ekholm. Turcotte with Draisaitl burrowing in on him. Puck shaken free. McDavid and Ekholm. A determined attempt at keeping it in. Draisaitl frustrated as he saw it crawl over the line. Ceci off to Dumoulin. Takes a gander up ice. Defensive-minded player, won a pair of cups in his first 2 full seasons with Pittsburgh a decade ago. McDavid on to Matthias Janmark. Oilers looking to snap this 2-2 tie. They've led twice. McDavid around Andre Lee to the net. And that shot stopped by Forsberg. McDavid again around Lee and Edmondson. Still on his backhand in front. And the Kings, for a moment there, had about 5 guys in the zone. All 5 were crowded around. They're able to get it back in the zone. Frederick.
Dean Youngblood, somebody catch the hot dog.
Yes.
I tell you, the strength on one hand, though, impressive.
Here's Regula on his backhand. Couldn't get a shot away. Cleared safely up the right-hand side. Darnell Nurse from the rim will snap it right back in. 4.5 to go in the second period. Caromed out in the slot for a moment. Malott got there ahead of Lazar, but now he's pinned along the end boards. Oilers a determined forecheck here. Kapanen. I mean, this is all Lazar against 3 Kings. Kapanen. Better be careful. Here's Nurse. Shot blocked. Yeah. Clark was getting worked over there.
Kapanen and him went at it there in the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Clark's had a physical game.
Not known for that element in this game. Nurse pushed ahead for Nugent Hopkins. But again, with these 2 teams' history.
He's a competitor, though. I like him. He's a good young defenseman, the youngest in their defense corps.
Well, and he's the successor to the role this man fills. Drew Doughty up the right-hand side. LaFerriere. And I'm not suggesting Doughty's close to going anywhere. But
he's going to hang around for a bit.
He is kind of the Doughty in waiting, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know what, that's what they're kind of shaping him into. And, you know, his minutes elevating from time to time, having some big games, but has tremendous offensive skills. We've seen that on display before, but he's competing, though. I like the physicality. He really went at it with David in the first period a couple times.
Howard across to Bouchard using a screen. His shot just missed. Scored the game winner against Winnipeg from a similar spot. Now Roslovic had one blocked by Anderson. Puck shaken free to Howard. He turned, tried to center, broken up and cleared. Corey Perry. Bouchard. 2:40 on the clock. Turned over by Anderson. Howard on the attack. Roslovic to the net. And that pass eluded Matt Savoy, and here comes Quinton Byfield. From the red line, he locates Fogle. His shot. A knuckle puck after a deflection ends up high. Fogle and Byfield unable to come up with a rebound. Bouchard will skate it out without too much difficulty. Roslovic just works his way across the line. Just makes it look so effortless. Draisaitl onto the ice, centering for McDavid. These 2 reunited as they were in the final 6 minutes of the second period on Thursday in Winnipeg. McDavid to Draisaitl going for the hat trick, and a save made. Forsberg with a $1:55 on the game clock.
Good chances at both ends. A crossbar hit by Edmonton here. This is Bouchard walking in, picking his spot. And he's accurate with that wrister. Brings the crossbar on this one up into the glass. And then this last chance, the big line loaded up once again. Hyman on the doorstep, just misses Draisaitl. Tries to chop it back against the grain.
The Golden Globe goes to...
Edit controls. Go for
Well, here are the Oilers
Go forward, 15.
all season. Now, that alone says a lot about the Pacific Division. In fact, take away the big three in the Central. The standings are so close in the West, the playoff cut line could be as low as 84 points. Then the annual question, are the Oilers and Kings going to meet again in the first round of the playoffs? With so many teams hovering around the 45 to 50 point mark, anything can happen, Jack.
Yeah, it's always been in that 2-3 matchup in the Pacific Division. This year, it could go a couple of ways. Here's Ekholm backhanding it up to Zach Hyman. But first things first, you got to get in. LA would move past Utah in the standings and into wild card 2 with a win tonight. Doughty from Kempe, a shot deflected up on the glass, taken by McDavid. A lot of time left still. A minute 20 to go. He's up to Zach Hyman. Shattered stick on the ice, regained by Lee. Kept it onside, dragged the skate, and now he'll go to work on Mattias Ekholm. He tied the game earlier in the second period. Hellenius sticks with it, comes to the front of the net, didn't get a clean shot away, but he still has the puck on his stick, kind of pinballed off a skate belonging to Ward and then sent back down low to him by Edmonton. But now McDavid hits Hyman. Partial breakaway. No, Clark reels him in at the end of the shift. Hellenius stretched to Ward. He'll backhand it to the opposite corner. And Lee, who protects against Daston. Half minute to go in the period. Tied at 2. Ward. Centering pass. Makes it through and it's shot by Edmondson. Repelled by Ingram. Draisaitl digging. Brent Frederick in the mix. Nerves battling. Frederick, whose fight sparked the Edmonton comeback the other night against Winnipeg. Stasting snaps it around the boards. Frederick has to hurry here. 5 seconds. Backhands it across. One-timer Nurse. And Forsberg, where is that? Is that? He's got it. He wasn't sure where it was. Disappeared into the midsection, puts it to rest, and keeps the game tied at 2.
That was a late whistle, though. It looked like he had it, but it didn't. The time just ticked down. I think they were waiting to see if maybe they were going to put some time back on it. Hyman looks like he's off to the races. Just can't quite get a handle on this one. Credit Clark, for getting back quickly and maybe hearing some footsteps on that attempted breakaway on a nice stretch pass. And here's the one-timer by Nurse. Gets through, and you can see Forsberg's like, do I have it? Do I have it? Draisaitl trying to trick him and knock it through, but the whistle didn't blow, and the time ran down.
As I recall, Nurse got him a couple times in the bubble in 2021 when Forsberg was with Ottawa, but Forsberg and Ingram toe-to-toe tonight. Edmonton and LA, familiar combatants once again involved in a tight, low-scoring game. 2-2 after 2 on Hockey Night in Canada.
Rogers, in support of the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation's Every Kid Deserves a Shot initiative. Current jackpot's over $800,000. Get your tickets now.
32% at cost
at edmontonoilers.com/5050. Tristan Jerry skated with the Oilers this morning, so his return is imminent, while Connor Ingram and Calvin Pickard go game on, game off to determine who sticks around as backup. Pickard has played well, and not to forget, he saved the Oilers in each of their last 2 runs to the finals, so he has history on his side. Ingram, aside from a rough outing against Boston, has been impressive. The Oilers play back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday. Indications are Jerry will play one of those games, although Chris Knobloch says the Oilers can carry 3 goaltenders for a while. But nonetheless, a decision eventually pending for Stan Bowman and company, as they'd like to finally end all the questions surrounding the Oiler goaltender. Jack.
And the only way to end that, Scott, is confetti falls and one of your goaltenders has won a Stanley Cup. Connor McDavid up to Ty Emberson, because as recently as last year in the Cup final, you saw Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard start games. Here's McDavid rolling up top, looking for the lead, trying to thread it across instead of going potentially top shelf. LA will ice it, but I thought an opportunity was there, maybe with Forsberg having committed a bit.
Yeah, and he's kind of getting that out, going to the bench too, and just maybe a little bit overthinking this pass as he walks out. There was a lane to shoot it. I think he realized it afterwards. If it gets through, I mean, it's a tap in, or at least a unbelievable chance, as Forsberg has to come from left to right after thinking that he was going to shoot the puck, but good chance, speed right out from behind the net for McDavid just to move his feet and find that open ice.
The one thing Forsberg did, as I got a second look at it, is he did push out, which cut off the angle for McDavid to potentially elevate that puck over. Here's Doughty off the draw, skating around Leon Draisaitl and angling one off the boards for Quinton Byfield, who tosses it in deep. Well, this is relatively uncharted territory for the Oilers. For only the 5th time in their 45 games, they're tied after 2. Draisaitl, a snapshot off the rush and a save made by Forsberg. Conversely, for the Kings, 16th time, launched ahead for Kempe, and if he catches that cleanly, maybe he's got a partial breakaway, but Colson brings it the other way.
You saw that outnumbered rush chart that Scott Oak talked about at the start of the period. They have been getting up the ice in a hurry, and it's something that Edmonton hasn't really adjusted to, and Kempe, again, was in behind everybody. He was gone, like you said, if he handles that, similar to Hyman in the second.
Lead pass for Milan. Problem for LA is they have lost 11 of those 15 games that have been tied after 2. Lead the league with 26 one-goal games played this season. And they're second to only Vegas, with 16 of those games needing extra time. Ceci, defending his line, rolled over to Dumoulin, did not get it out. Regula, taken away from Savoy by Turcotte, fell down on his own accord. He was able to knock it off the stick of Savoy, who wrestled it back from Fiala and forced it back into LA territory.
Good second effort in a puck battle through the neutral zone, but again, you can just see tight checking here to start this third period.
See the Oilers' record in one-goal games. They've played 19 of them. Graphic on the top left of your screen. Anderson to Hellenius. 2.5 gone by third period. Game tied at 2, and this will turn into an icing call as LA did not get a touch at the red.
Well, here's a nice pickup by Draisaitl. Skate to stick, looking for his third goal of the game. Tries to go far side over that right pad underneath the blocker of Forsberg. This is the lob pass out of the zone and handled onside by Kempe. He just can't quite corral that and bring it to the forehand. He would have been gone. Speedy skater was off to the races.
Nurse under pressure from Ward, has to retreat back to neutral, then hits Hyman. Play is onside. He'll dump it into the corner.
That was Edmonton, by the way, that found Kempe all the way up the ice with that lob. Yeah, one. Just a backhander to boot.
Yeah, just a little off balance was Kempe. He reels it in stride. It's trouble for Edmonton. Chipped by Ward to Hellenius. And now Drew Doughty. Snapshot on net, easily handled by Ingram. McDavid trying to gather that puck in full flight from Hyman, a little behind him. He fell down. The puck trapped underneath for a moment. McDavid and Anderson dug out to Fogle. Doughty under pressure, feels it, slides it over to Anderson, and the outlet for Warren Fogle. Driving in against Regula. Fogle had a 20-goal season in Edmonton before, again, scoring 24 a year ago. But as he tried to center for Byfield, broken up by Janmark. Overrunning the play, Curtis Lazar, at least initially, so he'll kick it back to Ekholm. Sent it off the boards, and Frederick enters the offensive zone. Dropped in his tracks at the half wall. Lazar able to keep it alive down low for Janmark. Absorbs a shot from Edmondson. Sockered it over to Frederick. Bouchard sent one that ended up climbing up the back of the net. Cleared eventually to Milan. Kempe. His shot smothered by Ekholm. Kempe will stay with it against his countryman Ekholm, who ends up wallpapering him and allowing Kapanen to glide over and make a play for Podkolzin. Cut right around Malat, but it's knifed away from him by Dumoulin. That was well played at the line.
Yeah, good back checking that sets that up, allows the defenseman to be aggressive on the offensive blue line, and Dumoulin does just that. Meets Podkolzin right there.
Emberson rifles it up to Kapanen, tipped in, but immediately played out to Kuzmenko by Turcotte. Kuzmenko spins, tried to give it back to Turcotte, and that one off a skate. Now Emberson took the hit from Turcotte, who snatched it back for Kevin Fiala inside to Kuzmenko. In tight wraparound effort, and Ingram got across. Dumoulin to Kuzmenko, showing one-timer Fiala, his wrist shot, and a save made by Ingram. 2-2, 14:41 to go. Sabrina risking it all in serious crimes. Her badge, her trust, and her belief in justice. Don't miss Allegiance. New episode Wednesdays. Watch free on CBC Gem.
Andrei Kuzmenko with a nice wraparound here, trying to catch Ingram a little bit off the post. Good stick by Emberson to get right in there and shovel it away, and Ingram was just there on time.
Mentioned earlier, Oilers a share of first place in the Pacific entering tonight. Vegas has a 3-1 third period lead on St. Louis. It's a team, Edmonton.
Messenger. Now, Desiree Moretti. We acted red hard. See your message. Almost at 1,800 videos on my channel.
San Jose has jumped over Seattle in the Pacific with a win earlier in overtime over Dallas. Tell you what, the Sharks aren't going away, are they, Lou?
They're not. And, you know, Macklin Celebrini, what a terrific season he's had. When we talk about players that are pacing the league, he's been in the top amongst the leaders all year long, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down, but they have just really been clawing and scratching, much like a lot of teams in both conferences, to make it so tight.
Beat this LA team in overtime last week. Highly entertaining game that Louie and I watched together. Frederick trying to work over Ward in the corner. Regula trapped by Lee, eventually dug it out, carved it to Savoy. Perfectly angled to Roslovic, but Mikey Anderson, to his credit, got back, played it well, allowed Doughty to clear back to Ward, and now Anderson will jump up. Alanius shot toward the net, scooped by Ingram.
A little too much one and done right now for Edmonton, and the times they've had success in this game and really started to dig in is when they can spend more time in the zone. Credit the Kings, though, as we've talked about, they're a defensive team. They're a team that really prides themselves on being aggressive physically. We saw Anderson on the speedy Roslovic just take him out of the picture and then find the puck in the process to get it out of harm's way. And similar, like I said, to the Winnipeg game for Edmonton, another good defensive team that battles hard in their zone. I know it's been a struggle for them, but that's what they pride their game on, like the Los Angeles Kings. For Edmonton, it was an elevation in the intensity, starting to win those 50-50 battles that turned that game in their favor. And in a 2-2 game here in the third period, it's going to be the team that can kind of grab onto that momentum that's going to pull this one out, I think.
Vogel and McDavid off the draw. That ends up popping out of play. Edmonton rallied from 3-1 down in Winnipeg on Thursday night with 21 minutes to go, and it was McDavid who scored that late second period goal that created and planted the seeds of doubt in that Jets dressing room. Bouchard, the game winner, with about 9.5 to go in that one. Edmonton looking for its first 3-game winning streak of the year, 0-6-1, when they try to get to 3 this season. Shot by Edmondson does not make its way through. Bouchard picks it up and then whistles a heater intended for Hyman.
Mistake of Clark. That wasn't icing.
Yeah, I didn't think it was icing. Unless Hyman was in the zone
first. Might have been. Offside.
Indeed. Tied at 2. Overhead look at Rogers Place. Hockey night in Canada.
Over 20.
Part of the game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Parts that make the difference. That's Napa Know-How. Leon Draisaitl with his family in attendance, including his dog Bowie, honors Bernard tonight for 1,000 career points, and what a sense of occasion he has, because 9 minutes in he scored the opening goal of the game. Quick shot that beat Forsberg cleanly, and 1:07 into the second. Another quick one as Bouchard's pass was on and off Draisaitl's stick quickly for his second of the night. So apparently still something special about scoring in front of your parents, Jack.
Absolutely. It kind of cracks me up off the draw. Brad Clark, centering pass tipped home, and the Kings had their first lead of the night at 3-2. Laferriere was in the slot, and I believe he was the man who got a piece.
Yeah, before this face-off happened, Connor McDavid was trying to direct a little bit of traffic here. Didn't like something that he saw in the setup. You're going to see him say, okay, look at this here, go here, make sure. Whatever he's saying, I think he just doesn't like the formation and wants to make sure that people are ready. Credit Clark, though. He's the one. It's a quick win by Laferriere to Kempe. He drops it right to Clark, and Clark just maybe gets a bounce here as he throws this in. He's got two players going to the net. No, that's a nice tip, actually. Laferriere is the one that I believe chips that home, as you mentioned. And the Kings have been in the offensive zone a lot in this third period. Take the lead 3-2, their first of the game.
Laferriere with his 12th from Clark and Kempe. And the Kings have their first lead of the night.
Well, Laferriere has had to step up here in the absence of Kopitar. There's the tip right there. Nice pass. Shot pass if you want to call it, but Clark just kind of threads it through. And he was waiting for it, ready to deflect that onto the net. It finds its way home. Stepping up in that top center position. Had a breakout year last year. Has followed that up. He's going to probably break those numbers from last year, Laferriere. And maybe a little bit premature as far as elevating up the lineup. But Jim Hillard said he's been good. And you know what? You do what you do when you have guys out of the lineup. Gets a big goal for his team.
Well, we told you before the game, the Kings have been good on the second of a back-to-back all year long, and ever since Jim Hillard took over as head coach. And they now are playing with the lead for the first time. Suddenly 13 minutes away from a much-needed victory on the road. This is the first time in 7 games the Kings have scored 3 times on the road. Shot in by Draisaitl. Trying to hunt that puck down was Podkolzin, and he did against Turcotte. Kings just 1-4-1 in their last 6 away from home. Draisaitl. Emberson a shot. That was blocked up top by Turcotte. Anderson. Again, without 3 regulars, LA digging in tonight. Fiala gets it back from Kuzmenko. Loads up, but at his pocket, picked by Draisaitl, looking for the home run, and Ceci raced back to pick that one off against Janmark.
Penalty coming up here.
Kuzmenko, high stick. So we've got tomorrow more PWHL action. Seattle Torrent, Minnesota Frost. Coverage getting underway 2 Eastern, noon Mountain on Sportsnet 1.
LA 96, Mono County High Sticking.
It is Kuzmenko, Jack, heading to the box for high sticking. I believe it's on Kapanen. Right there as they kind of collide coming back. It was actually Turcotte.
Yeah, it was Turcotte, I thought.
So they got the wrong guy, maybe.
Kuzmenko in the box. And on that look we showed you, a bit dubious there, but regardless, Byfield against Draisaitl. Oiler power play #1 in the league at 34%. McDavid trying to set up Nugent Hopkins, who was looking for Draisaitl, who's already scored twice tonight, remember. Edmonton a power play goal in 11 of its last 12. Draisaitl himself has 11 on the power play. McDavid hits the line. He's got 8. Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins with 6, but Bouchard stymied by Laferriere. Been a determined effort tonight from LA. Nugent Hopkins hits the line. Fogle waved at it into the corner. Edmondson won't get it out. Bouchard with 1:20 on the power play. Back backhand sauce from McDavid. Will get it back from Draisaitl. Locate Nugent-Hopkins. No shot. Draisaitl one-timer and a save made by goaltender Anton Forsberg. Cleared through Bouchard. Reload for Edmonton. McDavid again building speed through a seam. Little screen set by Hyman. Nugent-Hopkins brushed it back. Bouchard. Nugent-Hopkins. McDavid. Draisaitl had it tipped. Kept it alive against Dumoulin. McDavid had it knocked off his stick by Ceci. What a keep by Bouchard. No! They say it left the zone. That was razor thin. Bouchard and Kempe now jawing at one another.
A little taunting there by Kempe coming out to the line, and he thought he had kept it on the line, knocking it down. But just coming out, here's Draisaitl from a sharp angle, gets it away off the paddle of Forsberg into the body.
I think this one stayed in.
They're showing it on the big screen here and saying that it stayed in. Here's a good look at it. Yeah, boy, that was...
As you know, Louis,
maybe one they could have let go and challenged if you needed to.
I'm right on this line.
Yeah.
It's one of the rare cases where I don't miss many.
And you know what? That's perfect timing by Kempe, too. You know he's not happy.
McDavid has drawn a penalty. We've got 5-on-3. And the Oilers may elect to use their timeout here because, remember, their top unit has been out for a minute 24.
Number 9, Jan.10 Sasha.
But it's going to be Kempe. And they've been good. They've been really good at defending, coming into the line, good sticks around the net, and right here, just a chop, a cross-check at the same time. And Kempe's the one that's going to go. Slashing is what they're calling it. I think it was a double slash. Two guys kind of caught McDavid coming through, trying to punch through that hole, but a lengthy 36-second 5-on-3. Huge face-off coming up here.
No timeout. The Oilers are getting a little bit of a break here as they're checking on something at the scores table, and what this is allowing Edmonton's top unit to do is basically like taking a timeout.
Yeah, I think they're checking to make sure they have the right guy. I thought Kempe was the cross-check. The slash was from the other side.
Which is ironic because I'm not sure they had the right guy in the first one.
They got the right guy in the last one. See, he did get his hands in there. I'll give him credit on that one. For Kempe, into the hands. I didn't realize it was that far into the hands of McDavid. They got the right guy.
Draisaitl wins the face-off. Bouchard, 5-on-3 for the Oilers. They're 2 for 3 and 5-on-3s this year. Bouchard twists one over to McDavid. Nugent-Hopkins, McDavid. Shot, score! Game time! That's 30 for McDavid. And perhaps just as importantly, the Oilers will remain on the power play with a chance to take the lead.
Well, the face-off's so important. You have to come up with possession. 36 seconds. Once they do, they kind of set it up in for McDavid. Little give and go and a quick shot short side. Doesn't elect to pass it. We saw Nugent-Hopkins a couple of times try and test Forsberg from this side. But I think McDavid, when he gets this puck, he already knows that Forsberg's down. He's up. He's down again. Catches him in transition maybe a little bit. Squeaks that one through. And continues his point streak now at 18 games and ties the game 3-3.
A career-high 18-game point streak. And because they got the goal on the 5-on-3, the power play is still almost a full 2 minutes. A minute 30 as McDavid breaks in. Oilers trailed for the first time moments ago. Now they're tied, looking to regain. McDavid in tight. Nugent-Hopkins kept it alive. Bouchard to Draisaitl. In front, Hyman wide open, couldn't handle it. And a clear by Quinton Byfield. So the Oilers with a power play goal and now 12 of their last 13. Bouchard has picked up his 100th career power play point with a second assist on the scoring play. Chiseled free and cleared length of the ice by Warren Fogle. Bouchard on a reload. Still 40 seconds to go in the man advantage. McDavid building speed through neutral. He'll hit the line. Fogle the steal. And he'll slam it down the right-hand side.
Good penalty killing by the Kings.
There's with a drop for Matt Savoy. Roslovic. Isaac Howard. Nurse able to keep it in, albeit momentarily. The Ferrier got it up to Byfield. It's dumped in, and that will do it for the second Edmonton power play. But the Oilers do cash in on the 5-on-3, and we got a brand new game and 9 minutes to go. Game has been tied 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. Kevin Fiala. Little pick. Roslovic went down. Shot Turcotte up near the clavicle. And the save made by Connor Ingram. His 23rd of the night. Connor McDavid. A career-high 18 consecutive games on the point. The equalizer on Hockey Night in Canada.
Well, for the Oilers' second game in a row, they had to come back and tie the game in the third period. And this is the goal by Zach Hyman against the Jets that tied the game, and the power play goal by Evan Bouchard. Good defensive play here to start things off, and then he's the late man up the ice and zings this one home as the Oilers come from behind, win that one 4-3. And they're looking to try and do the same thing here in this third period. Down by a goal. It was the first lead for the Los Angeles Kings, on the goal by LaFerriere is having a game. And you just saw the tying one on the power play by Connor McDavid to extend his point streak to 18 games.
Big difference, though. They're getting a lot more resistance from the opposition tonight. Jets went 22 minutes without a shot on net in that game. Edmonton just dominated. LA has done a nice job of countering tonight. Every time the Oilers seemingly are starting to get a foothold, the Kings are able to counter-strike. It's been a good hockey game. Lazar's stick just exploded. Here's Drew Doughty. To Fiala. Forced out wide by Frederick. Inside Turcotte. And a tricky save made by Ingram. Kings are a +10 on the shot clock tonight against the Oilers, who just tied it moments ago. 5-on-3 power play goal by Connor McDavid, his 30th of the season. Hurst allowing the change to be completed. The outlet spilled in by Bouchard. Hard off the glass, taken by Edmondson. And Kempe is able to backhand it out for Los Angeles. And now take it from Ekholm. Driving in. Kempe. Drop pass. Edmondson a shot. That was fought off. Clark took a big shot from Podkolzin, but made the play down low in the corner. Draisaitl shrugs off a check from Milan. Two bouncer through the neutral zone, taken by Kempe. Quickly played up to LaFerriere. Pulled off as he approached the net by Bouchard and Draisaitl. Having trouble breaking the puck out, so Bouchard drops it off to McDavid. That's always a decent plan to draw attention away from oneself and on to 97. Went Byfield the other way for LA. Cody Ceci took his eyes off it. Recovered, got it to Fogle. Inside to Corey Perry, a wrist shot right into the gut of Connor Ingram. Just enveloped that puck with no rebound. Ingram's played well tonight, 25 stops.
He's been tested more. This is a little collision coming into the zone, and for Kempe, he's the one that gets that shot against the grain, and here's the little slingshot by McDavid, little grab to his old teammate, kind of flies by him on the forecheck. It's been one and done, though, for Edmonton in the offensive zone. The Kings have come out of their zone pretty effectively and easily, and they're trying to dig down low below the hash marks. Have had some time and hemming Edmonton in.
I've been impressed, especially on the second of a back-to-back, 3 regulars out. As this game is wore on, LA 21-11 on the shot clock since the first period. They've seemed to get even stronger. See if they have enough to close as Stastny a hair offside as he entered the zone with 5:56 remaining. And what's been a good one, McDavid and Draisaitl with the 3 Edmonton goals, the last of which McDavid's 30th, and the game time tally.
Drew Doughty celebrating Sidney Crosby's golden goal in Vancouver 2010 in his first Olympics. If you want an unvarnished, straightforward answer in the NHL these days, then Drew Doughty's your man. That makes him the ideal guest on After Hours, and so tonight he'll make his 6th appearance on the program for as long as time permits, as the Kings are flying home tonight. Looking forward to having Drew Doughty join Louis and me tonight here at Rogers Place.
It is amazing. You keep going to the well, and he keeps wanting to do it, Okie.
Never at a loss for words. Take up the X's record for After Hours.
That is impressive. Spencer Stastny slides right through Kevin Fiala, but Colson sends it out for Darnell Nurse. Here's a dish. Stastny, a quick shot. And against Kapanen, Forsberg keeps it a 3-3 tie. Kuzmenko the other way, loads up, waits, shoots, and it's off the post. Rebound, loose and dug out of the blue paint. Kapanen up the right-hand side. Kings have hit 3 pipes tonight. The Oilers won.
Great patience by Kuzmenko, too. Just wait, and then what a shot short side off the bar, and then he tries to just shovel it through the carnage.
That year he had 39 in Vancouver. That's posting in. Has not had that same kind of touch since, but what a play, as you said. Just heady, veteran move. But he draws iron, and the game remains tied. Isaac Howard, little burst against Brent Clark. Ekholm wheels it around the boards, took a hop on Roslovic. Howard there with support, but the Kings are able to muscle it out. And here's Brent Clark activating. Trio of Oiler defenders collapse on him. Laferriere has played a fine game tonight. Got checked off the puck. Ward tried to keep it alive. Savoy with a clear back towards center. Hoisted back in by Clark and set up for Bouchard with 4 minutes to play in the game. Draisaitl with a pair, McDavid with 1. But LA has hung around and briefly took a 3-2 lead in the third period. Held up for less than 3 minutes, though. Corey Perry scored on a rebound in the first. Fogle helps usher it in. Ingram plays it up the boards. Dumoulin. Ceci. Fogle stood up at the line, but now he's got the puck and floats one cross ice looking for Perry. Took a big hop off the boards. And here's Hyman on to McDavid. Anderson defends. Does a good job of getting in McDavid's tracks to slow him up a bit. McDavid continuing to battle. Fogle to Anderson on to Cody Ceci. Ekholm won't let it get out. Byfield pitched it off the glass. Big hop. Janmark at center. 3 minutes. Well, we told you. Nearly half of the Kings games require overtime. And this one may be destined for a similar fate. Emerson. Indeed. Doughty. Anderson. Frederick won't let him out. Hard play by Lazar. Crowd wanted a call. Now Frederick protecting. Anderson draped all over him. Chip ahead for Kevin Fiala. Kuzmenko, who hit the post on his last shift. Darnell Nurse right in his grill and lobs it back toward the LA line. Retrieved by Clark. Up the gut for Laferriere. Edmondson smacks it off the boards for Kuzmenko. Puts the brakes on against Bouchard and Draisaitl. And twirls it around for Edmondson, who coughed it up. The steal by Cole. Colson driving in against Clark. Waits for help, then tried to center for Draisaitl and missed. Kapanen gives it right back to Draisaitl. Into the slot intended for Colson. Kempe bumps it but not out. Ekholm. Draisaitl a shot denied by Forsberg. Hard rim around. Fiala won't get there. Bouchard will. But Colson to Kapanen. 90 seconds left in regulation. Short side bid for Draisaitl. Goes down in a heap. Fiala still with a puck, and Kempe had no idea where it was. The pass predictably intercepted, and now Kapanen. Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman will come on for the last shift of regulation. Spencer Stastny turns it up the center. Rolls it in. Anderson across to Doughty. Swings one intended for Fogle. 1 minute to play. Fogle dumps it in. Nurse will kill a little clock, then drop it off for McDavid. Back to Nurse. Punched forward by Stastny. Anderson for Los Angeles. Doughty squirts out into the slot. Corey Perry is there for the Kings. Backhands it ahead for Byfield. Byfield shoots and a save. Connor Ingram. 27 stops now for Ingram.
And a good job by Byfield to corral that one. Here's Kuzmenko with the fake, and then rocks around the sprawl defenseman Nurse and rings it off the bar. Good job right here as it goes off the back of Ingram. He reaches back, gets some help. Kuzmenko tries to shovel this one through, but that is a mad scramble and out of harm's way on a good chance. Here's the chance we just saw. And for Byfield, does the right thing, elects to shoot it as the backtracking nullified the 2-on-1. And a good save by Ingram, not only to make the save, but to hold on to it for the whistle.
Thought Nurse did a good job as well, kind of swinging that puck from behind Ingram and then using his body to cover up probably a third of the net. It's been a good hockey game. Half minute to go here. Byfield against Draisaitl. Byfield won the face-off. Corey Perry shoots it off the pads of Ingram. Edmonton up top, hesitates. Back down low to Corey Perry, inside to Byfield, tipped out to Doughty. A shot, and that was hoisted up over top inadvertently by Byfield. Chipped off the boards, got through. Byfield picks it up, 10 seconds to go. What'd I say?
That was a better chance, though, than it looked like for Byfield. That was a shot pass by Doughty, looking for that redirection. But you're right, these two teams, they battle.
We got OT. 12-4 the shots in the third period for Los Angeles, but Edmonton able to have the answer on a 5-on-3 power play goal. So why not? Little bonus hockey. 3-on-3 for 5 minutes on Hockey Night.
So big to a 4. Now big.
This overtime is brought to you by Subway's new Fresh Fit menu. With at least 21 grams of protein and under 500 calories each. Subway. Eat fresh. Feel good.
Jim Miller, coach of the LA Kings, no stranger to OT.
Yeah, this was Wednesday against the San Jose Sharks in a really hard-fought battle in Celebrini. Beautiful pass to cap it off in overtime. So that's one they've lost. Kempe's got 3 overtime winners. Jack Rosteldick has a couple overtime winners for Edmonton this year.
Oilers have lost their last 2, decided in overtime. Their last overtime win, November the 15th in Carolina. Draisaitl won it. He's out there with McDavid. Those two had the 3 goals in regulation for Edmonton. Bouchard rounds out the trio for LA. LaFerriere, Byfield, and Doughty. This first face-off so crucial, and Byfield has done his homework, pried it loose for Drew Doughty, first possession for LA. Kings are 4-5 in OT. The Oilers are 5-4. With Rosteldick having a pair of winners this season. LaFerriere breaks through, had it swatted away by Bouchard. Now Draisaitl looks immediately for McDavid. One-on-one with Doughty working him over. Back to Bouchard. He'll take a skate. Kings outshot the Oilers 24-13 over the final 40 minutes. Ingram, 28 saves tonight for the Oilers. Little give and go. Draisaitl with Kempe tracking him. Gives it to McDavid. Punched away, but Draisaitl's there to keep possession for Edmonton. McDavid. Doughty stays with him and forked it free. Bouchard able to recover. McDavid nearing the end of his shift. Bumped by Laferriere. New possession for LA. And Doughty watches as Kempe turned it over. Nugent Hopkins shoots just wide blocker's side. Rebound hopped over a stick. Now Kempe. Draisaitl railroaded him and forced a turnover. Nugent Hopkins just missed the net. Kempe. Time for the league lead with 3 overtime winners himself this year. Fiala building speed. Drop pass through the wickets of Clark. Nugent Hopkins. Kempe back defensively. Nugent Hopkins in front. Tipped on net. Forsberg makes the save on Hyman. Rebound Kempe. Now it's 2-on-1 for LA. Fiala and Clark. Nurse back. Fiala cuts to the middle. Dishes one-timer. What a block! Selling out. Nugent Hopkins cleared out. Clark will reset. Fiala hesitating, dishing off. Edmondson on the ice in OT. Popped it in front, looking for Kuzmenko. Comes back to Fiala, who's got to be gassed. Shovels it back to his goaltender. Forsberg up to Kuzmenko. Did not get a touch on that puck, but squeezing behind Nurse to negate icing was Turcotte. Kuzmenko calling for that puck. Turcotte, no chance to get it to him, and then he gave it away. McDavid to win it. In on Forsberg. Denied. Anton Forsberg with a game-saving start. 18,347 ready to explode in unison. Turcotte under duress. Up to Clark. McDavid powers right through him. Clark taken down. LA screaming for a call. Byfield dug it away from Bouchard. He's taken down. Edmonton another chance to win it. McDavid Draisaitl for the hat trick. Deflected up and out of play.
Boy, these two teams just go at it, don't they? Unbelievable chances at both ends. This is McDavid up the ice. Nice job to slow down. Tests Forsberg with the wrister. Here's a great 2-pad stack by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Takes that one-timer away from Kuzmenko, and he stung him on that one. McDavid again. Partial breakaway. Doughty does a nice job to close just enough to not allow him to have that control, and then a good stick. Puts this one up over top of the glass by Clark on the Draisaitl attempt. Going toe-to-toe in overtime. And rightfully so. There's been some long shifts for the top players of Edmonton, especially, I would say. They've been out there for over half of this overtime already and a little gassed. And for Chris Knobloch, he knows you got one timeout, you might as well use it to rest your top players, and I'm sure they're going to go right back on the ice with an offensive zone faceoff. I mean, this is down and back hockey in overtime. Those legs were just pumping. And I do believe the closing by Doughty just doesn't allow him to bring that quicker to the middle of the ice. And then Hyman goes in hard on this drive to the net as Nugent-Hopkins feeds it through to him, and he just can't quite convert. That was a good save by Forsberg, just to jam that one on Hyman's stick.
There's not anyone out there still saying they don't like overtime, is there?
Yeah. Mikey Anderson came back to the bench after the regulation and said, it's always a grind against us when we play each other. It's always a grindy game, back and forth, and it's keeping that way in overtime.
Fabulous. Same six that started the overtime are on the ice now with $1:34 to go. Draisaitl against Byfield in the circle. Won it cleanly. Bouchard loading up for a shot. And Laferriere cut him off. Now McDavid challenging Doughty. To the net. Forsberg, did he keep it out? They say Do you have a better look?
I couldn't tell, partner. I couldn't tell if it went in the net or not or what happened. I think it did eventually find its way in, but I mean, it was driven right through Forsberg. Now the question here is, it's called no goal on the ice.
Now it does end up in the net.
Well, here it is, and the Jets put on by McDavid again just does a nice job to kick it from skate, but it actually was him coming into the blue paint that makes the initial contact. So if you watch McDavid, once he brings this back, oh boy, but he does kind of pile into Forsberg.
Now this will all
tell
be
me, is that goalie interference? I mean, listen, because the puck bobbles, he obviously gets deeper than he wants to get, and Forsberg's got to stand his ground on the line. He doesn't have anywhere to go.
That's over the line.
Go over the line.
Before the net's off its moorings. Now everything is going to be under review, including any potential interference, goal across the line, all of it.
But it's under NHL review right now. They're taking a long look at this. Call on the ice is no goal. Okay, so it does cross the line. Now the question becomes, in my opinion, it looks like it crossed the line, but can you tell inconclusively that it does, or conclusively, sorry? Always drama with these two teams, but a power move, stick handling, it bounces up in the air, he's got to corral it, and then it goes off Forsberg, who again is the one that initiates out. He's allowed to in the blue paint. There is some contact here with McDavid on Forsberg, but does it prevent him from making that save as it's up over top and then dribbles in?
Here we go. Headsets are off. We're going to get a call. Eric Furlat will tell the tale.
Now, if Drew Doughty would have shoved him right before he makes that contact, different situation, right? In my opinion, but I think the contact with Doughty was after he made his initial contact with Forsberg. It was close. It wasn't much, but I mean, his shoulder does graze the head of Forsberg. Boy, he had nowhere to go to, McDavid. He had only one choice to try and drive that into the net. If he tucks it in quicker before he makes the contact, it's no goal. That's how it's going to stand.
Draisaitl against Laferriere. Again, the face-off so crucial here in OT, and Draisaitl's second effort prevails. Bouchard with 1:15 to go. McDavid and Byfield in a mano-a-mano wrestling match. McDavid won it to the net, but a poke check by Forsberg. And now the Kings were coming the other way, but Edmonton gets a break because the net had come off its moorings. Kings potentially had a 2-on-1 in the offing.
A lot of times they don't blow that down if they have possession, right? They allow it to kind of change.
Look at this.
But I mean, this is just rubbing his racing, partner. Rubbing his racing. And he still is able to find a way. McDavid, that is, around Byfield, who's all over him here. A pretty good chance. And give
great play by Forsberg.
Yeah, Forsberg credit standing his ground.
Terrific poke check. Fleury-esque. Minute 20 out on the ice for McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard. They remain. Another pivotal face-off. This one won by Laferriere. So possession to Los Angeles. Minute left in overtime. Drew Doughty. Drop pass at center. Quinton Byfield. Laferriere. Oilers looking for their first 3-game winning streak of the season. The Kings looking to reward themselves after a gutty effort on the second of a back-to-back. Byfield powers through Draisaitl to take possession, and now Fiala with McDavid back defensively. He'll pull off, and we've got a penalty coming. Byfield, interference on Bouchard. And the Oilers can win it on the power play with 29 seconds to go.
And no timeout, and they're out of gas. They're going to take as much time for Bouchard. Be slow getting back to the bench here. Just a little fly-by pick by Byfield as you watch him come through. He just kind of gets the stick up on Bouchard from behind.
Yeah, bit of a cross-check.
But it's a cross-check up high as Bouchard goes down on the little crisscross.
So now, Nugent-Hopkins by far the freshest of the four out there for Edmonton. LaFerriere will dig in. LA's playing for a shootout now.
Another great face-off win by LaFerriere.
A couple.
Huge.
Yes. Because now you're down to 20 seconds. Here come the Oilers. Up ice. McDavid. Onside. Timer Draisaitl for the hat trick and victory. Missed the net. LaFerriere is going to clear, and we're going to have a shootout. Bouchard with 3 seconds. Nugent-Hopkins at the horn. And a glove save made by Anton Forsberg at the horn. 65 minutes of terrific hockey tonight at Rogers Place. And now we settle it in a shootout this season. The Kings are 2-5. The Oilers have not won a shootout this year. They're 0-2.
Yeah, great hockey game so far between these two division rivals that know each other better than anybody maybe in the league with how much they've played against each other. As Jim Hiller having a discussion at the bench with TJ Luxmore.
Louis, why don't you show us how we got here?
Yeah, back and forth affair was the Oilers. Leon Draisaitl ceremony for 1,000 points. Gets it going for Edmonton, 1-0. Corey Perry, the ex-Oiler, guess where he is? In front of the net, makes it 1-1 on the power play. In the second period, same situation as Draisaitl, a face-off play, one-timer, beats Forsberg. It's 2-1 Edmonton, but the Los Angeles Kings. Anderson, quick up. And then the quick pass over by Byfield to Lee. He redirects that one home to tie it 2-2. The Los Angeles Kings on a beauty redirect by LaFerriere take the 3-2 lead in the third period. 5-on-3 power play for Edmonton, and Connor McDavid extends his point streak to 18 games with that power play goal to make it 3-3. That's how it stands through 5 minutes of overtime and now into the shootout.
Forsberg has won 8 of the 12 shootouts he's been in. Connor Ingram is 3-3 in the shootout. So that's your goaltending matchup, and here's McDavid to lead it off for the Oilers. He's 0 for 2 this season, but career 43%. Breaks in on Forsberg. Down. Couldn't get that backhander elevated.
Tried to come in with those quick hands, really sharp angle. Has so many options from this position. Elects to go to the backhand, tries to elevate, just rolls off the stick at the last second.
Kempe 3 for 7 this year, 45% for his career. In on Ingram, scores.
Boy, so smooth. He comes in wide too, only he elects for the backhand side. Doesn't take another stride from that point in time. Little fake elevation in tight high from backhand to forehand up over top of the blocker, bar down.
Draisaitl's 2 for 2 this year, 38% for his career. Scored twice in regulation. On the night he celebrated, slap shot stopped. What'd you think of that maneuver, partner?
Look at that, the old Steve Larmer.
Good reference.
I remember Larmer doing that all the time. Chris Pronger did it one time too for the Oilers in the playoffs, I believe, in a penalty shot. But you know what? Why not? You know, change it up, different look. Good save with the blocker.
But now Brant Clark can win it. 1 for 1 this season and in his career to win the game for Los Angeles. He stopped. And here comes 15-year vet Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Clark tries to outweight Ingram. Good job by Ingram. Doesn't really bite until the last second. Makes that right pad save.
To keep the shootout going, Nugent-Hopkins, 33% in his career. He stopped. Anton Forsberg with a right pad save. And LA on the second of a back-to-back prevails in a shootout, 4-3.
Well, he got the look he was looking for score for Nugent Hopkins. He delays and was patient enough on the forehand side. I think this ticks the top of the right pad of Forsberg on first take. Gets him to go down, has to elevate just the tip of the right pad. Once it's down in the butterfly positioning, in a little tight, and deflects it wide. Solid save to stand his ground for Forsberg once again. And the Los Angeles Kings, down a couple of times in this game, claw back, take the lead, have it tied, but win this one in the shootout.
Heck of a game between two familiar rivals. It's LA 4, it's Edmonton 3 in a shootout. Later on, Louie and Scott with Drew Doughty. Next up, Ron and the panel on Hockey Night.